Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Delightful Creations by Amber. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today we are going to be doing the Journal with Me series part number 4, getting our papers ready and then putting the coffee dyed ones into our journal. So I'm going to set the cover aside because it is quite stiff. It needs to sit under some books so it will learn to lay flat, and then we will get started on putting the pages in an order. So I'm going to set these off to the side and grab my trimmer so I can work on these coffee dyed pages. I'm really happy that I had these in my stash. It's like the perfect project for this. It has blues and yellows, and it's going to look so awesome inside here, I think. So I'm going to trim this one down because I don't like how wrinkly it is on the edge right there. I won't be able to write on it, and I don't want to waste the paper by using it as a pocket. So I'm going to set it aside for the backing of some other project that I'll use later on. So on this page, I'm thinking I want to do a triple or a bifold. I just can't decide. So I end up doing a triple fold here. That way we'll have a fun flap on there to be able to flip out, like a little flippy bit there. So I think those are a lot of fun to add. And I don't want to waste, any of the blank writing space here. I think it's so fun to have that in there. And it will really bring the journal together as more of a traditional junk journal by using the true, what I consider junk. So on this page here, I'm thinking I want to cut off that edge down there on the bottom right that is ripped, but I was like, well, I want to get another paper out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this pretty much in half, and that will give me 2 more pages. So we'll have a total of 3 coffee dyed papers in the journal. And then this one, I'm going to trim a little bit away from the edge there where it's ripped. So it will be a little bit smaller and it will fit in the journal nicely, just to add a little bit of interest to the pages. And then on this one, I'm just going to trim a slight bit off where the corner is actually just ripped. And then I'll fold this one in half as well. So I have 3 different sizes with the coffee dyed paper, which will look really fun. And then we will go ahead, set the trimmer aside, and get ready to arrange the pages. So I'm going to pull these in and separate them into different piles. So I have my double folds right there on 2 pages. And then I have the coffee dyed ones we just did, and then all of our small ones. So I'm wanting to add another page in here for the middle page, because I realized when I went through my pages off camera, I didn't have a middle feature page selected. So I'm just flipping through here trying to decide what I want the centerpiece to look like. And I absolutely love that page, but it's a directional pattern and I want something a little bit more pretty on the inside. So I'm thinking, well, let's go ahead and I'm going to choose these florals here in just a second. I was making sure I had 2. I'm just flipping through here. It's really hard to make a choice sometimes because they're all so pretty. So I'm going to choose the red and yellow and cream with a yellow page. I think that'll look really pretty next to each other. And when I was doing this, I hadn't realized that I had chose another page in the journal to be a double page with these exact same papers. So I actually have it in there twice. That's how much I liked it. I really liked the combination. The yellow is such a pretty yellow, and the florals are, oh my goodness, they're gorgeous. So, I mean, why not use them? Why not use the papers, right? That's what this is for. So I'm going to go ahead and lay these down next to each other with the face up, because like I said, it's going to be a feature page, so I want to see both the colored images at once. So this is one of the only pages that'll have white on the other side, but I'm going to break that up by putting something in between there. So I'm going to pull in that Tim Holtz fabric tape, washi tape type stuff, and pull it down and pull it back up to measure and then cut off so that I can go ahead and get these ones attached. So yeah, it's quite a fun process. I didn't realize, I was so excited I didn't pick a feature page. Usually that's one of the first ones that I do because it's my favorite page. I love the center of the signature. It's so fun. But this time I completely forgot about it. So there, now we have the center feature page. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I'm going to fold that in half, make sure that it's not like too crooked. Now we can go ahead and put our stuff into piles. So I am arranging them by, I know that's my center page, so that one has to go in the center, so I'm going to try to build around that. And then I got to decide which ones of these I want to fold with the color inside and which ones on the color on the outside. And then also how I want to fold the long bits of the ones that we put together. So I can fold them over on themselves, I can end up cutting them off, or folding them back so I cover up that white. So all you're seeing me do here is just align some of the pages. I'm going to use that pocket page, and then I'm just finding something that looks nice with the red pocket. I struggle with the red pocket. It is a pattern and a color that is not in my forte, and I really don't know what I like on top of it. So I'm like, well, maybe we'll go with white, but then I have a lot of white on white on white. So I end up not using that page. Yeah. I'm thinking the green looks the best because it's really subtle and I think it looks nice. But again, actually maybe blue. Because I thought red and green was more of like Christmas. And I was like, nah, I don't really want it to be Christmassy. So I just chose to use this cream page here, I believe. Yep. And then I have the blue, and then I'm going to use some florals, or actually the diamond pattern. I'll change my mind probably 5 or 6 times before I finally figure out how I want it to lay out. Because I want it to be a journal that I'll actually use and not something that just looks pretty. So I think I have my pages here. I'm going to go ahead and flip these out, give a quick flip through. I really like that. I like the blue, I like the coffee dyed, I like the green. I don't like the white on the white. I'm like, maybe it's okay. I'm like, maybe it's okay. I'll leave it for now. I'm like, actually, no, I don't like it. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay, something, I mean, it feels okay. It feels like it's in an okay order. It just isn't like quite there yet. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the pages down before I decide to trim any off. This is the part where you can see, I'm trying to tell you, it needs to tuck inside of there. So I know that it will fit in the journal. So it's just nice to have a guide. That way I'm not making my pages too long or cutting off too much or folding too much or not folding the page enough. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that one on itself so that you'll see white. And I was going to leave that yellow flap there, but I decided to just trim that off. It's not really, you know, it's not worth anything having on there unless I was going to have a really giant flip out on top of that little flap and just use the flap as an attachment piece. But let's just cut it off. I'm okay with that. Go back and let's pull in this page here. I'm going to fold it in on itself so the cream is against the white, but not quite to the edge there. Just barely right away from the tape so it doesn't get stuck on there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the blue page, but not as far, so it'll be a smaller little flippy bit. And I like the way that looks. This is coming together really nicely. And I'm really excited to see kind of how the finishing touches of aligning the papers. This is one of my favorite parts, so I hope you guys enjoy the process. I'm just thinking out loud, I don't really like the two creams next to each other, so I might end up moving those pages, and on these ones I end up folding them in on themselves so that we don't have any waste of the colorful page. It doesn't make any sense to me to fold it out and have a white pocket. I mean, that's just silly to me. It's silly to me, and I am probably going to change my mind of the order of these go in, but I might end up cutting off a couple of these flaps. I just haven't decided yet. I would rather have it folded in and I can cut it off later versus wishing I had it and had to already cut it off, because then I would have to glue it on as a pocket. So that's how I work. I hope you guys are enjoying my process, giving you some ideas and tips on how and why I put the pages the way that I do. And this one I'm actually just going to turn it in and make it a short page because it's just green and I wanted it to be a little bit different so all the pages weren't folded the same, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to save that piece for later, and then I'm going to fold this lovely writing paper with the postage stamps in the background up against the cream, but I'm leaving a little bit of a gap there so it won't snag, and also so that I'll know that that flips out. I mean, I'll know it flips out, but just in case I forget later on down the road, right? You know, 2 years from now or something. And then we use the pretty floral page, and then the coffee dyed, and then my center page. So the center one I forgot to trim down because it is the center. It gets pushed out the most, so it has to be the smallest page to fit within the journal. So I'm just doing a test cut there, and I'm like, whoop, that green one needs to be trimmed down just a little bit more. I would rather trim less than more, so I'm always cautious with how much I trim off. So that's just me, trying not to waste, trying to waste as little as possible. And getting this to be a nice fit, and there we go. I really like it. I like that they're all different sizes, different lengths. You can see a lot of different colors all at once on some of them, like you see the yellow behind the newspaper and the red and the cream. I'm not liking that cream and cream, but it's easy enough to move them around because this is a time to get it where you want it versus binding it together and going, actually, I don't like that. So this here is a part 4 video, and then I decided to go ahead and include part 5 as part of this video as well. So this is a little bit longer video, but it was originally part 4 and 5, just to give you a heads up. That way you know what's going on. And what I was trying to do was I was trying to hurry and arrange these pages, and I was like, why is there white on white on white? I did not understand what I was doing. And then when I turned the camera off to start filming part 5, I realized that I had 2 coffee dyed pages next to each other. And I forgot my doily. So here we go. Let's go back into it right here. There's 2 coffee dyed pages, and that's where the white on white gets broken up. So I'm going to pull out that coffee dyed paper and put it right between all that white paper. And it just looks so much nicer. Yeah, I love it. And then we got to find a spot for the doily. So I like to accent a pretty page normally with a doily. That way it will not take away from, like a white page. You would not see the white doily on the background of the white paper. So it has to go between a coffee dyed and a colored. So I think we're going to go ahead and put that on the green page just to make the green a little bit prettier. It is a plainer page. And yeah, so what I want to do is I want to pull in another page. I want to make another pocket page because I only have 1 pocket page in there of the actual paper, and I want to see more of this collection in the journal. So I chose this green one, and I'm just going to fold that up and do the same technique that I did with the red one by folding it up and then folding it in half. And then you will see me grab my scissors, and I'm just going to trim down the middle of the pocket so it will lay flatter. And then also so that I can get something into it's a tiny, tiny pocket. So I'll be able to get something in there by only having to glue the outside edges and not worry about the inside. It'll give me a little bit more wiggle room to put something a little bit bigger inside those pockets. So I'm going to go ahead and round the corners just like I did on the red one. I really, really like it. I like the touch that it adds. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll round the bottom. I'm like, no, I'm just going to round the top corner. So they are similar but different. It has the same cutting style. I could have done a different type of pocket too, but you know what? That's okay. I'm all right with that. And now I'm going to put this back together, and I got to find a spot for this lovely green pocket to go. So I don't want it too close to the front pocket. So I'm like counting, there's 4 pages and then the pocket. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's technically where this other page should go, is right there. But I don't like it there because there's another green page right next to it. So I'm like, okay, that pattern's not going to work. So we need to keep looking, and we'll find it at home here in just a second. Oh my gosh, I'm like, let me move the doily. Yeah. Sometimes it's funny to watch myself go back and see how I pull pages out and put them back together and put them back in there. And I'm like, Amber, put it right there. Just leave it there. See? Just leave it there. It works. Because I didn't like that on the back side of it. I'm like, oh, here we go. I can put that page here, and that will break up the white with the cream. And there we go. We have a home. We have a home for our pocket. And I love it. I am so excited. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my little corner rounder away. Do one more flip through because I don't want it to be catching. Yep. That one I folded too close to the edge of that fabric tape, and it kept catching. So I got to trim a little bit off just so it's far enough away that it won't get caught on that sticky tape. There we go. Love that doily flip. It's so pretty. And then the little pocket page. Whoops. And then that's the center. So now I'm going to go ahead and get these all aligned and arranged. I like the way they are. So I'm going to go ahead and bind them. Put them in our little pocket here. Make sure I don't have anything that's sticking up. That way, if I need to trim it down, I will. But I'm going to add my back pocket because there's a little bit of a flap right there that didn't quite get glued down. So I'm just going to choose a really pretty page to add to a pocket. I was trying to decide if I should use a page that I could put on the front and the back, or just add the pocket to the back, or just the front, because I can always turn the journal cover around, obviously right now, because there's nothing on the front or the back of it. And I didn't want a page that was clashing with the beginning and the end. So I actually chose this fun little blue farm page with the animals and making it so it'll bring in some of the blue from the front and also accent those blue roses. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just use this since it's already a cut off page. And then I go, no, I don't like it. I don't like it being too florally in the front because that very first page has florals on it. So I will go ahead and cut this down to about 2 and 2.75. And then I'm going to use my scorer on the bottom of my trimming here so that I can fold that flap over, and I'll actually have a 2.5 inch pocket. I always like to do that because it adds a little bit of strength to the pocket, because I'll be pulling something in and out of there all the time, and it just makes it a little bit more sturdy. So you definitely don't have to do that. You can totally use a 2 or whatever size pocket you want, but I think it helps. And this paper is, pretty decent thickness. It's not like top premium quality, but it's not as thin as like copy paper or some other. Actually, it's thicker than a lot of my 12 by 12 inch scrapbooking papers, so it is pretty good quality. I'm thinking let's go ahead and add some yellow, because on the front here you can see that big nice yellow page behind the newspaper plus the yellow flowers, and blue and yellow look really good together. So I'm going to use my scattered straw and just ink those 3 edges, not the edges I'm going to be gluing down, but just the 3 edges. And I think that'll be a really fun addition to go ahead and pop right there on the back of the journal, because that's going to be the back pocket now. I've decided I don't want a pocket in the front, and from the way that I lay it down, for me, again, directional, so it's got to go that way. So that's going to be the back, and I think that'll be a lot of fun just to have another little spot to add a little note, or, you know, something fun to remember from later on. Press that down, and I'm going to set that off to the side so that it will dry and be able to set up. And then in the next video when I come on, I'll go ahead and do the binding. That way, we're all caught up. So one more little flip through. I'm like, all right, let's glue down these pockets. Finishing touches before I bind anything. You can totally glue your stuff whenever you want to. I just like to do it before I add the binding. Then I'm not fighting with it to stay open. I don't have to worry about it catching the glue on another page and sticking to it. So just wipe off the excess glue, and then I'm going to glue down the green pocket page as soon as I get to it. Here we go. And that way all of our pockets are the same. And then I was thinking, instead of having all those pages that I folded over being a flip out, I'm going to glue one down for sure to be a pocket, because I really like flip outs. I think they're really cool, and I'm able to add extra bits to them versus just being a traditional pocket or tuck slide in thingy. So I'm just looking through here and going, okay, I have a flip out there. So I don't want, I love that. I love that the doily goes inside there. I think that's like my favorite. So I don't want a flip out and a flip out. So I'm going to glue down that blue pocket. And I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and use our ink again, because it's the same paper that's in the back, that same pocket page. I thought that would be a really nice way to tie the back of the journal into the journal and just make it flow together and feel like it's all one. Just those small little details, you guys, makes the journal all come together in one. And I just really like that, you know, I'm able to do that. I'm able to make, as a creator, make these choices. And, you know, some people don't like that. Other people don't care. But, you know, I was just having a fun day, and I decided to ink. So there we go. One more little flip through here just to make sure. I was thinking about gluing that one down, but I like that it flips out because it's on that right hand side. And there we go. And then I'm going to look through one more time really quickly to see if there was any other pages that I wanted to ink yellow. I was going to ink that cream one yellow, but in the end I just decided to do the one page. So there we go. That is the journal pages, the way they will look inside the journal. The next video I will go ahead and bind it with my traditional 3-hole punch, or 3-pamphlet stitch. I mean 3-hole punch. Wow. 3-hole stitch. Alright guys, thanks so much for stopping by. Hope you're enjoying the process, and I will be back soon. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.